על כן יאמר בספר מלחמה ונס השם מזבוב בסופה. דרשו חז"ל אהבו בסויפה. That the milchama of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when there's a milchama that has to do with Hashem, then it leads to love, it leads to ahava. That's a sign that something is a milchemes mitzvah, that it's done appropriately, because it leads, the purpose of the disturbance, the purpose of the milchama is to lead to ahava. יש לנו בזה לפי אני הזדעתי בדרך רמז, ונקדים לבר הפוסק, השם יש מלחמה, השם שמוי, פרששי בשמוי, הוא נלחם ויפלי. He's saying, Hashem ish milchama, Kadosh Baruch Hu is a ish milchama. He has the power to fight for what's right, for what's real. How does he do that? Hashem Shemoy, through his name. His name does the fighting, because we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he never changes. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu never changes, how can he be ish milchama? How can he suddenly go into a stance of fighting? How can HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is kuloi, ahava, oz v'chedva b'mkoimoi, happiness, peace, calm, shalom is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So how can he be ish milchama? And the answer is, Hashem Shmoi. His name does the milchama. He doesn't have to fight. His name fights for him. The neder lefi azni dati, ki yedu mashkose b'zar HaKodesh, reise, ishmo dekit shabrichi kilachad. The Torah and the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is one. So all of the Torah is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is also in the Ramban. The Ramban says that the Mekubalim used to read the Torah with different hafsakas oisius to create different words. So for example, one way for the Mekubalim to read the Torah was that you take every 3 letters and you make it into a word. And it would come out to Bora Shiz Bora Ele. And then you continue like that to read the entire Torah. So because the Torah, all the letters of the Torah are the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, through his name, which is the Torah, he fights the wars. וגם בגמרא יסא, כל התורה כאילו שמות של HaKadosh Baruch Hu הם, והם בשמש HaKadosh Baruch Hu, והנה שמש HaKadosh Baruch Hu כביכול יש כמה בחינס, בחינס חסד, בחינס גבורה וניצוח. So everything we know about reality is essentially a name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But some names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu lead us close to his essence. Some names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring us closer to the truth. And some names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are called the faces of the lower worlds. The lower worlds, which are separate from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, those worlds are also his names. But they're names that are distant from him. They're like kinuim. So a person has a kinui, so it's also calling that person, but it's not calling him directly. You're using another word in order to describe who he is. And like that, when we refer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every experience we have is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because every experience we have allows us to recognize reality from a different perspective, from a different face. That face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu sometimes is close to him, sometimes it's the real him, and sometimes it's kisrin tatorn, it's from the lower worlds that present themselves to us as kinuim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the lower we go down in the worlds, the more distant the name is from the actual being. So you're still perceiving him, but the levushim are so thick, they're so far, that when you look at the levushim, you don't recognize even the shape of the body. It looks completely different. So then those people who only recognize him from many levushim, they don't really get to know his essence. They don't really get to know who he is. But the Torah is the names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as they directly refer to him. So the Torah also, when you learn the Torah, some psukim that you will learn will show you a face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's a face of love, and some psukim that you will learn will show you a face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's a face of din, that's a face of gvura. So all the different faces of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are within the Torah. Every time you learn Torah, you see a face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and each time you see a different face. Kemamoram, Zohar nasa le'samachayim, lo zohar nasa le'samamoves. So you look at one face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a samachayim. You see his face of love, you see his face of acceptance, you see his face of forgiveness. And you look at another way of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and suddenly you see a face of din, a face of rejection, a face of distance. All these are faces of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But some of these faces are samachayim, some of these faces are samamoves. And a person will identify the things that he connects with, the things that he lives by, based on his heart, based on his midas. The better his midas, the more the Torah will be for him as samachayim, the more he will find good in everything. And the worse his midos, the more his leiv is disconnected from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the more he's going to recognize the difficulties in reality, the problems in reality, the areas that make HaKadosh Baruch Hu seem distant and seem like he's angry, seem like he's upset. And that becomes a samamavis. And therefore, Chazal say that somebody who learns Torah, be'ein bo yireh shemayim, so on him the pasuk says, lo mezeh mechir biyad ksil velev ayin. Why does this person know so much Torah that he doesn't have a heart? Because if he doesn't have a heart, the Torah is going to turn against him. So he didn't really gain anything by learning all that Torah. Adarabah, the Torah is going to be the cause of his demise. It's going to be the cause of his downfall, because he's going to think, based on what he learned, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol is distant from the people, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like the people, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not really engaged with the people, doesn't really care about them, because V'leiv ayin, he doesn't have the heart, he doesn't have the recognition of who HaKadosh Baruch Hu really is. And when that leiv is appropriate, that's called Yireh Shamayim, like we spoke before. Reish is Chachma, Yiras Hashem. The first thing to acquiring Chachma is to open the heart. It shouldn't be V'leiv ayin. It should be with the heart that's filled with love to humanity, because only then can a person learn Torah and actually connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu through it. Chen ish Yisrael kshelem da Torah be'emes, imekashe nishmose ba-Torah mamish, hanikres Adam, shemisham shoirish nishama, bermach mitzvahs aseh, shesom mitzvahs lo yisaseh, azai memale yesh le gam ken beis b'chines hana leho misel hachis. When a person connects himself with the Torah, so if his leiv is appropriate, if his heart is appropriate, he is only going to eat the samachayim. He's only going to eat the truth that's within the Torah. However, once he's learned, he's also going to know how to deal with people who don't have a good heart, because the Torah is going to give him the power that he himself can be a samachayim and a samamavis. He himself is now going to have two different sides to him, because he and the Torah have become one. He's gotten to know the shoirish of the Torah. Shamu ki negidim adaber, hayna divrei Torah, lemoshel nimshel nogid. Ma nogid yesh boi kidei l'homis el hachis, kach divrei Torah yesh boi l'homis el hachis. The Torah has the power to give life, and also Chaz v'sholom to give death. Like you say, tzadikim yelchibam, and poishim yikash libam. So the posheya, what does it mean, a posheya? A posheya is somebody who is rebelling against reality. When somebody rebels against reality and he learns Torah, the Torah is going to become a kisholen for him. Not only is he not going to find peace in the Torah, but he's going to find proof that life is no good from the Torah. The Torah is going to prove to him that life is a problem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't really want to do good for the people. And that's because his heart is saying so, not the Torah. But because his mind belongs to his heart, his mind won't be able to find anything else in the Torah. His mind won't be able to recognize the love that's hidden behind the face of Zam, the face of protection, the face of protecting humanity, which this is the first tafkid that the Torah has, is to protect humanity from itself. So when a person doesn't have the proper heart, he can never go beyond the face, he can never find the toicha rotzev ahava, that the whole Torah is, the vessel outside might seem strict, but the internals are filled with love, the internals are filled with chayis, the internals are filled with connection to a spiritual reality that gives a person tremendous power. It was Hashem Rav HaKodesh HaCohen, this is the toldus, ala Gemara, kol Talmid Chochem she'eino noikem v'noite kenochosh, is that you shouldn't trust in him. You shouldn't be in his mechitza. That a Talmid Chochem has to be noikem v'noite kenochosh. It seems like an extreme statement. Why does the Talmid Chochem have to be a noikem v'noite kenochosh? K'van yizbah ze le'el, ki k'ma anochosh sho'imem yisemechaye, ken ha-Talmid Chochem sheyesh bekoich aleha, bekoich ha-Torah, yeshne be'imrei fiv be'Torah le'omes el hachis. That the Nochosh is known that the Nochosh caused the woman to eat from the Eitz Hadas. And this is how Adam Arishan fell in to the original sin, which is what we're still suffering from today. And this original sin caused people to be able to see life in a good way and in a bad way. So a person's mind is capable of turning against its very owner. A person's mind can become his biggest enemy. And that's only since the chet of the Eitz Hadas. So the Nachash is considered as like he has a split tongue, that he can speak in two different ways. He can speak in a way where he says one thing, and he causes love, he causes good, he causes Eitzadas Tov, and he can say the same thing in a different way, and you see it as Ra, and then it becomes a Eitzadas of Ra. So just like the Nachash has that power, so too a Talmid Chacham, who has learned the Torah properly, he needs to have that power also. And the reason why Talmid Chacham needs to have that power is because right now we live in a reality that has those two sides. So if a Talmid Chacham won't know how to protect himself from evil, then he's not a Talmid Chacham. He hasn't really studied reality. He studied an imagined reality that doesn't exist. The reality right now is that some people are good, they're kind, they want to help, they recognize the truth, and some people don't recognize the truth. And we need to be able to protect ourselves from those who don't know the truth. And therefore, a Talmid Chacham needs to have two sides. Just like a Nachash has two sides, a Talmid Chacham has to have two sides. He has to have the ability, through the Chachmas HaTorah, to recognize what is truly and really good, and not to be fooled by people who have different motives and different purposes for what they do. ועל יודו נלחם מלחמת השם למי שצריך להומס, וגם להפך למי שצריך להכיס. הכל על יודו נעשה. היינו על ידי תלמיד חכם, בהזדבקה לתורס השם, יש לשני בחינס הנ"ל. So he's saying, what does Rashi mean? That Hashem ish milchama, Hashem shmoi, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is loichem with his name. So he says, who is his name? The Talmid Chacham that knows his name. Through the Talmid Chacham that knows his name, Hashem is loichem with his enemies, because the Talmid Chacham knows how to protect the truth, even from those people who want to destroy the truth, who don't have an interest in the truth, who have fooled themselves to such a degree that they think that their selfishness is going to lead them to a better place than the truth. They imagine that they understand life better than Kivyochel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore if they follow their own path, they're going to end up pleasing themselves more than if they follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu's path. And obviously that's ludicrous. The Creator is the only one that knows where our best interest lies. We can't know that unless we understand his original intent, we understand what he created, and that takes a life of dedication to find the truth that's hidden beneath all the lies that people believe, and they cause themselves tremendous damage. So right now, even though our nature is pure, even though a human being was created Lisanag El Hashem, right now a person is going through different beliefs, different understandings in his childhood, and by the time he gets to adulthood, he has many understandings within him that are not good. And therefore, if he'll just follow what he thinks, he's not going to end up following HaKadosh Baruch Hu's plan. He's not going to end up finding himself and pleasing himself the way that he thinks he will. And this has been proven time and time and again. If we observe life, we'll see that life cannot be figured out on a superficial level. The truth doesn't exist on a superficial level. Not because life was meant to be complicated, but because we are so complicated, because society has made it so complicated, because so many influential people, powerful people, were extremely selfish, were in it for themselves, and there were long periods of time where Kol Da'alim Govar, whoever had the most violence in him was the one who was in charge, was the one that created the laws, was the one that created religion, was the ones that created understanding. And therefore, by now, when we look at life, we don't see it. We don't see the simple and loving truth that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. We see a face that was created over thousands of years of misunderstanding. And to dig through that and to be able to find the truth underneath all that misunderstanding takes a life of dedication, takes a tremendous chachma. And therefore, it requires of the Talmid Chacham to be able to protect himself from the basic understandings that people have that is anti-humanity, that's not good for human beings. It's that simple. The basic understanding of life that human beings have today about themselves is inhumane. It causes tremendous suffering. And anybody that's been on this planet long enough knows that in a very deep way, from his own experience and from observing other experiences. That the system, the structure that we have set up for life in our societies and in other societies doesn't work for humanity. I don't know who it works for, but certainly not for humanity. Certainly not for us. It's not helping us in any way, shape, or form. What it does, to a minimal degree, is it keeps us from killing each other. But it doesn't really improve our spiritual perception. It doesn't really improve our understanding of self. It doesn't really help us recognize the sophisticated and deep and complex spiritual entity that we are. And that's the most important part of a human life, is recognizing that spiritual reality before the physical is stripped away from our experience. And as soon as the physical is stripped away from our experience, the only thing that matters is the spiritual. So a society that's created around only understanding the physical is by definition inhumane, because humanity is not physical. Humanity, in fact, is the only part of the universe that we're familiar with that is completely not physical. It's completely spiritual. Even though we have a physical body, which is our manifestation in this world, it's our placeholder, so we know where we are, but it's not who we are. It's not from where we experience. We don't experience from within the physical. We experience from beyond the spiritual. We experience from behind. And therefore, many, many people who have all of their physical needs met can find no peace within themselves because their spiritual has not been addressed. And not only hasn't it been addressed, but there is no way for them to address it. They can go to all psychologists and psychiatrists that are available in our societies, and they cannot address the spiritual the way the spiritual was meant to be addressed. The only place to find real wisdom, real knowledge about the spiritual is buried deep, deep within texts that are thousands of years old. They knew the truth. They understood what it means to be a human being, at least in a much deeper way than we do. They took it very seriously. This was what they focused on, this is what they learned, this is what they studied, and this is what they gave over to their children. But over time, over thousands of years, that wisdom, that way of approaching life has been completely lost. It's been destroyed by power-hungry people who cared only about the physical. And people are suffering, people are being tortured, people are being moved from place to place. They lose access to their spiritual power, they lose access to their spiritual understanding, because a proper spiritual understanding can only happen through joy, through recognition that the purpose of the human being, the purpose why we were even embodied in the first place, is because this is a tremendous opportunity for joy and recognition of what it really means to be alive, what it really means to come out from min hakoach el hapoel, to come out yesh me'ayin, to become and to be able to be aware and to be able to recognize what it means to be here. And this is something that people have completely neglected, and the Torah is the one that's trying to preserve that knowledge. The Torah is the one that's trying to preserve that wisdom. And therefore, a Talmid Chacham who gains access to that wisdom, he needs to protect that wisdom like a Nachash. He needs to recognize his superiority. He needs to recognize that what he has is more than what anybody else has. One Talmid Chacham could be worth more than 1,000,000 regular people, because the 1,000,000 regular people are just flesh. If all they can think about is their survival, then that's who they are, because the mindset of the person, the experience of the person defines who he is. So if all his spiritual faculties are designated to studying the physical, then he doesn't have any spirituality. And therefore, one Talmid Chacham outweighs all those people who are busy with physicality. This is how we see that Reb Akiva said that there was a woman that Bekeres Echad gave birth to 600,000 people. And he said, how could that be? He said it was Yocheved who gave birth to Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe Rabbeinu, through his spiritual understanding, through his spiritual depth, he had more value than the 600,000 people that he was teaching. Because his understanding was so real that it was more real than all those people put together. And this is something that's true until today, just people don't know how to value it. And that's why the wise are not on top. The people who have strong elbows, they're on top. The people who know how to blow hard and how to make themselves look good and how to make themselves look powerful and how to threaten others and how to bully, those are the people who end up being on top. And that shows you the level of society, that shows you the dire straits that we are in, that shows you how far we have fallen, that shows you how right those people who engraved this wisdom into our consciousness throughout generations, how right they were to do that, because the understanding of what it means to be us has been completely lost. And that's the cause of all our suffering. That's the origin, that's the seed. That when a person doesn't have access to a spiritual self, the one that's running the ship is asleep. Now, if the one that's running the ship is asleep, how well is it going to navigate through stormy waters? Not very well. And this is our situation. This is where we are at right now. So it's upon all of us, each one of us and all of us together, to start digging and finding the truth. to start recognizing what it really means to be alive, what it really means to be a medaber, what it really means to use language, what is the impact that our words have on other people and on ourselves, and how can we start navigating through these stormy waters to find a peaceful place where we can actually live, where we can start being humane again, where life and the things we do on a daily basis can enhance our experience, can enhance our spiritual connection and not sever it like it's been doing right now. Like people are suffering throughout their entire lives. Only Shabbos they get a little moment of taking a breath, and then there they go under again. And this is how society has set it up. We can't stop, because as long as we don't set up a system in its place, if we stop, then we're not going to have what it takes to survive. And survival obviously is a necessity. We can't be spiritually advanced if we don't survive. So survival needs to be done in a collective way through wisdom, so that people have the time to delve in and understand the true meaning of what's happening to them, the true meaning of their experience. And when they do that, then when they start looking for that, then the Torah starts becoming meaningful. Then they start recognizing the wisdom of those who passed it on generation through generation. ויש לפרש רמז בפוסק על כן יאמר בספר, היינו על ידי האמירה בספר והאמירה רק כלושן חיבה, או לושן מחשבה, כמו ויאמר הומן בליבוי, והיינו על ידי אדם שעושה בתורה לשמוע בחיבה, ויזדבקס מחשבתה לתורה באמס, על יודי נאסס מחמס השם, ועל יודי לוחם השם בסויניו. It means only a person who has found love inside the Torah, he can protect the Torah from its enemies. He needs to be the Noikem and Noitek Enochash, the one who has found love in the Torah. The one who hasn't found love in the Torah is not really a Talmid Chacham. It's all min hasafa v'lachutz. He shouldn't protect the Torah. He needs to be quiet and listen. But the ones who have found love in the Torah, the ones who have recognized what the message really is, they need to protect the Torah from its enemies. And the enemies are those who want to paint the Torah that it means only fair, that it only wants to intimidate you. Those are the enemies of the Torah. Those are the ones who cause the Torah to become a Samamovis. וזה בשמו ינולחם. אין על ידי התלמיד חכם שדבק בתורה, שישמעו של הקדוש ברוך הוא לא יכם בסויניו כנ"ל. ויזבויב בסופו. Meaning, how do we know that this Talmid Chacham is really he's the right one, that he's not just fighting wars because it's in him, because he likes to fight, because he's looking for a way to release his aggression? When it's Zvoiv b'sifa, when it's soft, at the end, he creates love, he creates shalom, he creates recognition of the truth, he creates people to come together, then we know that this is a Talmid Chacham, this is somebody who has actually learned Torah and actually understood what it's meant to do. That even for the Talmid Chacham, when you find the love has two bechinas. The love has chesed and the love has ahava. Chesed is the kindness and ahava is the love. That the person that has found the true meaning of the Torah, his behavior becomes such that not only does he have internal emotions towards people, but he actually brings it out before El Mamish. He actually does kindness. He actually brings kindness into people's lives. He creates a better environment for people to live so that they can connect to the truth of the Torah, so that they can see it in action, so that they can understand what a world is supposed to look like. Because like the Pasuk says, Olam chesed yiboneh. The world will be built through kindness. By us having kindness, each one of us has different strength and different understandings and different abilities and different talents. By each of us contributing what we have to other people and allowing other people to enjoy what we have access to, we create a better world. We create a world of chesed. We create a world of understanding, of depth, of spiritual openness, of spiritual recognition. In that kind of a world, the Torah can flourish. In that kind of a world, wisdom can flourish. In that kind of a world, love can flourish. Like we said before, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu fights the wars with his name, so he's going to give now a different pshat. The David HaMelech, how did he have the power to fight with Goliath? How can a little guy stand up in front of this tall giant? Doesn't say anywhere that David had any nevuah. Doesn't say anywhere that David had any promise that he's going to survive. So how silly can he be? A little guy standing up to this big Goliath, what are the odds that he's going to win? How did he know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was going to stick up for him? And the answer is that he did. His power was Kriyas Shema. His power was that he believed in the Yichud so much that he knew that there cannot be any force that can go against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not possible. It cannot exist. And therefore, it doesn't matter how big Goliath is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is within him, giving him chayes. And the moment HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to give him chayes, Goliath is not going to be there any longer. That recognition is what allowed David HaMelech to come and fight Goliath, because when David HaMelech was David in that recognition, he and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was one. And therefore he had the ability to lay Goliath down. Because he knew his power. He knew his power was spiritual. His power was in his mind. His power was in his heart. His power was in his ability to perceive reality the way that it is. Goliath didn't have that power. So when David HaMelech came to Goliath with that mindset, with that understanding, with that connection, Goliath was going to fall. That was the nature of the spiritual. So just like Goliath felt very secure because he was relying on the physical nature, he was relying on his size, he was relying on his capabilities, the same way David, and in a deeper way, knew that nature was going to cause Goliath to fall in front of David. How? Because the nature of the spiritual is such that one who knows the Yichud has power over those who don't know the Yichud. Goliath is still afraid for himself. David is not afraid for himself. Goliath doesn't want to die. David doesn't really care if he dies. And therefore, David is more powerful than Goliath. So saying, what did David take against Goliath? He took the side of Kriyas Shema. V'lokach hei chelka avonim haina hei teves Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem. V'shavo esam bekir techodo haina echod. V'osa yichid kitshbrichi shchintei v'bezeh horegas aplishti ad kan ein sham. So he's saying, David HaMelech, he took 5 stones. What are 5 stones? So we know from the Sefer Yetzira that stones refers to language. As far as the medaber is concerned, everything that we speak about in the Torah, we speak about in the language of the medaber. So when we speak about stones, what is a stone to medaber? A stone to medaber is a unit of thought. What is a unit of thought? A word. And through words, a person can build colonies, a person can build societies and civilizations. And that's exactly what happened. How did the medaber build what he built? How does civilization survive? Through the sticks and stones and rocks and buildings that we've created through letters and words. That's what keeps it going. Lo'olam Hashem devar chanitza b'shamayim. Where's the shamayim? So we've mentioned many times. The oretz is the body, it's the physical. The shamayim is the spirituals, the conceptuals, is the part of us that thinks. So what's holding us together so that we don't commit crimes against each other, so that we don't ruin each other's experience, so that we don't get in each other's way? Lo'olam Hashem devar chanitza b'shamayim. The dibur that we heard as children, as teenagers, and as adults, those words are holding us in place up until this very day. If those words were not there, we would go back to being different entities, different human beings. The words create us the way that we are. The words stand in Shamayim and hold us to be the way that we still are. So therefore, David HaMelech took these 5 words, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem, and he put them all in a little bag. What's the little bag? Echod. That everything is part of the unity. Everything belongs to the one from where it all manifested. And through that power, through that knowledge, through that ability of unifying his entire spirit with one single goal, of being completely present and completely available to that moment, he conquered Goliath. Goliath couldn't stand against such a strong spiritual power. And this was the nature of the Milchama back in those days. This is how Klal Yisrael were able to fight the Milchamas and win, because they had access to spiritual power that was way beyond what the Goyim had access to. And as soon as Klal Yisrael would lose their access to that power, they wouldn't be able to win any wars, because it wasn't about their physical strength. It was about their spiritual resolution, their ability to unite their spirits as one, that gave them tremendous power, that gave them superhuman power. And they had no fear. Like we know, before Klal Yisrael went out to Milchama, the Kohen HaMashiach would go out and say, Mia isha yore v'racha levov. If somebody is afraid, if somebody has a soft heart, yelech v'yoshev lebeisai. Should go back. We don't want him here. Because Klal Yisrael went out with a complete unity, with a complete disregard for their physical. They were there to fight for the spiritual reality that they knew is true. And one who wasn't part of that resolution, one who wasn't part of that unity, would only disturb, it would only make things worse. If he would start running away when he sees the enemy, that would break the spiritual power of the people. Therefore, there were many different tarbulas that people shouldn't run away from a battle scene, because more important than physical strength is the spiritual unity that the people have as they fight. This is what animates the body. And the deeper the well of spirituality for the people who went out to fight, the more they would win, the more successful they would be. And this is back then when war was with swords and with weapons and was in a physical arena. Today, it's very similar, but the war is a spiritual war. The war happens in our minds. It doesn't happen on a battlefield. The milchama between Tov and Ra went from being in the battlefield outside in the open to being in our minds, in a place where it's invisible, where it cannot be seen. It's like the Arizal says that originally the neshamas were all separate. So some neshamas were good neshamas and some neshamas were bad neshamas. The good neshamas were extremely good and the bad neshamas were extremely bad. But by today, every neshama has been mixed and matched with so many different parts that nobody is pure. Nobody is pure good and nobody is pure evil. Everybody has a war in their mind between good and evil. And how do we win? How do we make sure that good wins? Only through the resolution, only through understanding Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that the one who created all is in charge of all. The one who created all created it in such a way that it's supposed to work. If a person could unite in that belief, that will give him power over all the chitzonim, that none of the sheidim and the ruchos and the koiches atumah could have koich over him. Because he has recognized the truth that is more powerful than all the illusions that the world can throw at him. And this goes all the way to even when a person loses his physical body. This is why we read Krishma as the last thing that a person does before he passes to the other realm, before he disrobes of his physical. He says, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. This pasuk, this recognition is so powerful that it's more powerful than death. When a person can have the proper unity in that moment, he's considered not to have died. Because the one that was recognizing that truth doesn't die. The one that was recognizing that truth continues even after death. That truth is true in this world and it's true in any other world. This is the weapon of a yid in any place, in any situation, whether it's a physical threat or a spiritual threat. He's not afraid of death. Death is not his enemy, because the one who created life and death happens to be his friend. So he doesn't have a problem with death. He doesn't have a problem with anywhere that he is, because any experience that life will give him still comes from the same creator. That recognition gives him tremendous power. That recognition allows him to overcome any obstacles that are placed in his way. Moshe Rabbeinu, when he killed the Mitzri in Mitzrayim, he did it through the power of the yichud of Krishma Kvashnev Avifen Koi V'Koi V'im Kufhei Azman Shel Posik Shema Yisrael Ein Sham. V'Ifen Koi V'Koi, what's Koi V'Koi? Koi is 25. Kuf and Hey. So the 25 letters of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, that's the power that he used in order to take down the Mitzri. V'zeh v'yarki ein ish, k'disa shetzorech b'sho zi lahafshit molav kol ha'levushin shel min enoishi, that he's supposed to, when a person wants to make the yichud properly, he shouldn't even identify as a human being. He's not a human being. He is all. When a person identifies with the yichud, he is all. He taps into the allness of everything. He is one with all of it. Not only with all the other human beings, but even with the sticks and stones, even with the animals, even with the trees. Everything emanates from the same source. Everything was created from the same origin. And the human being, through his consciousness, has the ability to tap into that power, has the ability to tap into that recognition. So in the moment of yichud, he's not even a human being. He's beyond that. He's the unity of everything that emanated into existence. He's existence itself. He doesn't identify as an individual. He doesn't even identify as a certain prototype. He is connected to the source of existence. The source of existence has in it everything that exists. And that's the perfect unity. That within this person, this recognition causes all the different spiritual forces to unite. Hashem is the Ish Milchama. The recognition of the Yichud is the Ish Milchama. That's the power that those people, the great people in Klal Yisrael, used in Milchama. They used Hashem. They used the name of Hashem. B'mei nilcham. How do you fight with this Shem? Hashem Shmoi, when you recognize His name. Haine b'Shmoi nilcham. Ritzulemek shenas Hashem echad Shmoi echad al yidei Yichud. When you're able to meyached Hashem through the Yichud, you're able to identify the name that is the closest name to His essence, the closest name that you can find, which is the Yichud itself, which was Atuhu, Atshel Nivro Olam, Atuhu Mishnivro Olam, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hasn't changed, and therefore He's still as available as He was before life was created. All the manifestations don't limit His power, and they can't block His light. When a person recognizes that alone is his tool, that alone is his weapon. Also, Lechem B'Soinav, V'yidu Sefer Gematria Shem. The word Sefer is Gematria Shem. So before we were saying that those who learn the Sefer, how was the lashon of the pasuk that it said? Let's see if we can find it. Al ken yomri b'Sefer Milchamas Hashem. So what's the Sefer Milchamas Hashem? The Sefer Milchamas Hashem is the Shem, is the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Sefer is a Gematria Shem. So the Sefer Milchamas Hashem, the name that fights for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is Voiv Besufa, that causes love. Because that name never fights against reality. That name can only fight to protect reality. A person can never tap into the Yichud in order to contradict reality. A person can only tap into the Yichud to protect reality. Because if he tries to do it in any other way, he himself is not part of the Yichud. And that's the first condition, that he himself has to be ready to give himself up. If he hasn't given himself up, he's not entering the Yichud. Saying, these people are with the Rechev, these people are with the Susim, these people come to war with their Klezayin, with their Koiches, with their physical weapons. What's our power? B'Shem Hashem Elokeinu Naske, that we remember the Yichud, that we recognize who is really in charge, we recognize what's really true. B'Shem Daike, Kanal, Shem Gemati Sefer, V'voy Zelekama, V'zeh Remes B'Megillah. B'voy Lifnei HaMelech, Omar Him HaSefer, Yoshev Machshavto Hiro. B'Mishol La'avon, Ayin Perish Rashi, L'fi Dakayin Niche, Ki Sefer Gemati Shem, V'ish Omar Im HaSefer, Yoshev Machshavto Hiro, Shechoshev Alidim La'abdom, K'meshoy Tzagos Aplishtis. It's saying, B'voy Lifnei HaMelech, Omar Im HaSefer. So there's no pshat for this. Rashi doesn't know pshat, apparently. So it says, according to this that we just learned, we can understand this pasuk. When she comes in front of the king, Omar Ima Sefer, you go with his name. Yoshev Mashafta Rosh Chosh Al Yidem La'abdam. Nobody can destroy Klal Yisrael when Klal Yisrael is attached to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, when Klal Yisrael is attached to the Yichud. Because that gives them such tremendous spiritual power that none of their enemies can stand against them. When God is uplishti, shebishmo shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, hoyelochem David HaMelech alav shalom imoy. Chen gam ken kan, שבזה נלחם עם הומן, ונפח משאף טרור לטוב עלינו. ויש לובן זה, כי ידוע מי שעושה בתורה לשמו, מייכלן לו יקולה ונויסף. Somebody who learns Torah Lishma, that he really wants to find the truth, he really wants to recognize what reality is about, then as soon as he makes that commitment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is moichel all his avoinus, all his mistakes that happened before are now nimchal, because he's not the same guy. He's not the guy that's trying to game reality, he's the guy that's trying to understand it and work with it. That a person wants to be miyachad the Shechina, the manifested reality, with kitcha brichi, with the intention of why it was created. That once a person is nimchal kala v'noisav, a person that's clean, a person that's pure, a person that knows that he's done nothing wrong ever, so there cannot be any mekachrik. Nobody can come to him and tell him that he's doing something wrong. When a person has that unity, when his spirit is united around the truth, when he's made a full commitment to reality, then nobody can come against him. No thought, no force, and kol shkenat on the physical plane, nobody can have power over him. Because the thoughts and the mekatrigim in thoughts, when we get into arguments within ourselves, that's the source of all our problems. It's the source of our problems beruchnis, and it's also the source of our problems begashmis. Because the gashmis dig problems, the gashmis dig people who want to hurt us, they only have power if we allow within our minds that something is wrong with us, that we deserve something bad to happen to us. But when a person is united appropriately, when a person recognizes the real truth, when a person is fully committed to reality, then nobody has a power over him. Nothing can disturb him. And therefore, there can be no mulchamas on him, not beruchnis and not begashmis, kashimatim pi HaCohen HaGodol, who is the toldus again. Orim gedolos ubetzuras bashamayim, perish orim loshen soinim, כמו ימולי פני תבל אורים, כשיכבש אורים גדולים אשר בשמיים, ממילא יכבש אורים גדולים זה בצורס באורץ גם כן. והכל על ידי עסק התורה לשמה. So, when a person conquers his shamayim, like we said before, his shamayim is olam hamachshava. When his olam hamachshava is clean, then even ba'oretz, nobody can harm him. Nobody can do anything wrong to him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us. That it should be mevatel all our mekatrigim, lemala and lamata, and the mekatrigim on us individually, the mekatrigim on Klal Yisrael bichlal, and it should bring us the Gula Shlema Meir B'Yameinu.